Welcome back to Air Canada Centre. Just in time for the Fast Break panel, let me introduce them to you. We've got Dave Leader, Raptors broadcast producer, sitting at the end there. In the middle, Phil DeSantos, he's a radio personality. And sitting beside me here, season seat holder with the Raptors, Dill. Now, guys, let's talk about that last clip we just saw. We saw Norman Powell packing his bags for that long road trip that the Raptors had late November. They had 5 games. He averaged 8 minutes a game. What I want to know is, do you want to see Norm on the floor more? Do you think he's being underutilized by the Raptors? Dill?
Look, I think it's tough in the terms of who's not going to play, right? You got to get minutes for DeMar, you got to get minutes for Kyle. Like, who's not going to play? And I think particularly where we've been relying so much on DeMar to score,
absolutely,
I think it's hard for Norm to get minutes. Clearly he can produce, but I just don't know where we're going to find the shots for him.
Yeah, I think it's a good problem to have. I mean, I think right now we're probably seeing the best Terrence Ross that we've seen since he's been a Raptor, at least the most efficient. And then when you look at DeMar Carroll, I mean, he's the guy who obviously opened the door for Norm last year to get all those meaningful minutes. And I think Carroll is still working his way back, so Norm will get some of those spot starts even while DeMar is giving himself a rest. But at the end of the day, it just... There's a lot of pieces, and he's kind of just got to wait his turn, and eventually it's a long season. Injuries do happen, unfortunately, and he'll get that opportunity. He seems like the type of guy who's going to, seize it and make the most of it. So I think he knows he just needs a patient approach. I don't think there's any quick way to get minutes, but eventually they'll come some way or another.
It's patience at this
exactly.
point. Yeah.
I think we obviously saw huge bright spots last season in the postseason where he stepped up big time. I think this year, especially for young players or new players coming into the league, they need those in-game minutes. They need those touches, and I think getting him some more minutes and some more NBA action, like getting him the ball, giving him an opportunity to shoot and create, I think that's going to help him develop as a player more.
And I'll say this, I mean, this is a question that we're talking about and asking here, but nobody's heard Norm ask the question. I think that's what's important, is that he knows his role. And I don't want to name names, but there are players like last year who maybe would tweet that they were underutilized.
Right.
So, all the power to them, but at least Norm knows that that's not going to get him any more minutes. Mm-hmm. And he's just got to take a professional approach and let the dominoes fall as they do.
It's part of the biz.
I think that being a professional is important, right? And you have your role, and if you're out there complaining, that's not being a professional. And the thing we saw with Norm in the playoffs last year, he came ready to play every night. Regardless of what his role was going to be, he came ready to play, and he stepped up when they asked him to. And I don't know what else you can ask for a player that's young and maturing and getting better.
Right. And Dill, you mentioned right off the top DeMar and Kyle. Now DeMar started the season on a whole nother level. He's kind of cooled off a little bit. Do you think it's because other defenses in the NBA have figured him out, or do you think it's because Kyle's finally back doing Kyle right now?
I think it's a bit of both. Sorry, Phil, but I think it's a bit of both.
No, you know what? I think DeMar, I want to call it the DeMar Renaissance, the DeMar-essence, if you will, because he's really, you know what? He's really, it's a trademark, by the way. He's really kind of coming into his own this season. We know how much he works off-season during the postseason, and whether it's, getting to the line more, kind of solidifying the mid-range game. He's really keeping defense on their toes. He has a really high basketball IQ, and I don't think defense can figure out when you have that much of an arsenal. I think it's really just about trying to contain, but I think he's getting to the level. I won't say he's at the level of a LeBron or Russell Westbrook yet, but he's getting to that elite level where he's still averaging 29 points a game, almost 20 games into the season. So this is not a fluke. We've known he's been able to do this for years. So.
And look, I think a lot of teams probably came into this season, having watched the Raptors, especially through the playoffs, almost daring DeMar. Okay, beat us with your mid-range game. Let's see you do it. And credit to DeMar, for the early part of the season, he was doing it. And then they're like, okay, maybe we can't give this to him all the time. We got to really try to contain him. And I think this right now, this Raptors team is probably a more sustainable and a better Raptors team. And DeMar, especially over the last few games, has shown that he's a willing passer. And his assist numbers are as high as they've ever been. He's setting career highs there. And he's getting guys like Patterson, Joseph. He's getting a lot of those guys who maybe weren't having the same success, anywhere near the same success DeMar was early in the season, but now they're getting the touches, they're feeling good, the ball's going in, and the team as a whole is playing better, and hopefully even that trickles down onto the defensive end too.
Right, I think the DeMar-essence, I think is a term. I think the thing that I've seen this year that has been most heartening is the fact that he's not forcing his shots.
Yes.
He's taking what the defense is giving him, and so even though he's been performing so well, I don't feel like, unlike previous years where maybe he was taking some shots that he could have looked for the pass. This year he's making really smart choices, and we're getting more movement, there's more assists, and it just seems like it's easier to score. So I think that's a maturity on his part, and his game has gotten so much better over the years he's been here. It's remarkable.
It's all exciting. Thank you guys for helping me wrap up the show. We wrapped talking about the Raptors, but here on Fast Break, we talk about the Raptors, we talk about the NBA, and we talk about local basketball stories here in the GTA. I look forward to seeing you again here on Fast Break. I'm Kat Stefankovich. See you soon.
Yeah.